Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana market update video. Today is the 25th of February. Hope y'all are doing well. I am doing amazing. It's 60 degrees here today, so I have no complaints. It's been like negative a million for the last couple months, so I am feeling good. We're in a great mood. Good weather will do that. I'm jealous for you folks who live in nice climates year round, because here in the Midwest, man, when it's cold for months on end, it affects you mentally without a doubt. So we're feeling good today. Hope you all are as well. We've got a couple kind of bigger picture stuff to talk about today here in the beginning, and then we'll get into some price movements and some cards that are seeing a lot of action here as of late off the back of continued meta discussions, card releases, etc., etc. Some of our enchanteds are running, some of the playable cards like their individual counterparts are running, and we'll get into that. I wanted to start though with something that I think is a huge win that came out yesterday. They are releasing a certified judge program. So they put together a proposal for it. It was released in Discord. You can see Snobby put it together. They typed up a long post. They put links together. They're asking for feedback. And this has been a huge piece for the organized play side of things. I know, obviously, if you're a collector like me, you may not be aware of the issues that have came on the organized play side of the house, but this has been a constant feedback for the last several months. There obviously was accusations of cheating. They had to ban people. They had to go back to people who were cheated out of maybe a qualification for a new event or a trophy card. They provided cards. They provided invites to these events. And to their credit, they've always done the right thing in those scenarios. But it's been a constant feedback from the very hardcore TCG enthusiasts, like competitive playing community, that we need an official judge program. And once again, like they always do, Ravensburger has taken that in. They put together a proposal. They've listened to the community. They're getting feedback, and they're looking to deliver on that need from the community. And this is another example of them just delivering at a high level. The competitive play scene has been around for a year. They are growing rapidly on their side of the thing, on their side of the house in terms of the team, and they're continuing to listen to the community and putting together programs in place that is going to be a sustainable long-term ecosystem. And I think this is where us as collectors can truly benefit from not being in the day-to-day grind as much of the actual game, going to the challenge events and seeing all the maybe some of the flaws that are going wrong there. Because I mean, like, if you go on Twitter or you go on some certain Reddit threads, like, there's an echo chamber of people, like, honestly, some of the hardcore TCG players, like, I feel like they would complain if their ice cream is cold. They are extremely critical. They have got to be some of the most critical people out there. Because when I look at this stuff that Ravensburger is doing from a collector, and just like I've been to a couple set champs, right? Not grinding the game in a major competitive sense at all. I feel like they're doing a fantastic job, and things like this are a great illustration of that. They've continued to make the right decisions really since I started looking at it. And like the first chapter needed a reprint, right? And they had this clash of like people who had paid a lot of money for the boxes that didn't want them to reprint, but the players needed cards, and so they did a full reprint. They continued to release the first chapter and get it in people's hands and made it very readily affordable. That was a decision that they had two ways they could go there. They've continued to kind of make the right decisions. Now look, they're not perfect. They need to work on communication, some other things that I've illustrated before, but decisions like this just really give me a lot of confidence once again moving forward as a collectible and as a collector specifically. Like, if they were continuing to make wrong decisions and not addressing things like this, like, that signaled to me that it might be time to look somewhere else. But at the end of the day, they've, apart from a few mix-ups, like, they've done a tremendous job, and they've delivered at an incredibly high level. So this is just another feather in the cap of listening to the community, pointing in the right direction. And that's why me as a collector, I can look at this stuff without, hearing and seeing all these, the people who are grinding the game and maybe coming from like Magic that has a 30-year track record of like organized play and judges and all this different like just ironed out systems because they have decades of experience, and then coming into Lorcana and being mad about all this little like ticky-tack stuff that at the end of the day doesn't really matter. And they're going to get it worked out, right? They've just got to kind of go through. They've got to, they've got to essentially trip a few times and fall down to see where they need to adjust and get back up. And they've just continued to make the right decisions. And so that's us as a collector not being involved in like the, they missed the stuff, so I'm not going to play next set, or I'm selling my cards because it's a joke they haven't done this or whatever. Like, if you can avoid the noise and just focus on the fact that they've continued to make the right decisions, they have this iconic IP, they're delivering at a high level, the team is growing, they're going to continue to ramp up the rate at which they make these improvements, right? Like, there's so much coming down the pipeline in terms of different IPs and roadmaps and things like that. Like, we're at the very, very tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to come. And so the more you can like kind of be on the outside looking in and seeing that they're making the right decisions and not be, mad that they, didn't do this or didn't do that. Like it's just you get kind of the best of both worlds as a collector, in my opinion. And that's what gives me hope that they are going to deliver on a rarity tier that is mixed between some sort of like legendary cold foil and an enchanted, right? Because I know that, like I opened 2 cases of Versus Return and didn't pull an enchanted. As a collector, that was a very bad feeling. I did not like that. I did not enjoy that. Opening the packs was not fun. At the end of the day, I have this deep connection to this IP through my daughter, who is currently 6, and then my other daughter, who's not even a year yet, who's going to go through the same process of watching all the Frozen movies or whatever, right? Like all these different movies I'm going to get to enjoy with her and have the same experience with her, and then getting into 2026 and getting Pixar, hopefully Toy Story, that connection with my son, like, I don't know. There's just like I'm very, very excited about the future of Lorcana. I said that in many videos previously, right? I'm very, very excited for the next couple of years and just the connection I'm going to be able to have with my own family throughout this process. In addition, with the fact that it's a fun hobby, there's value, there's this collectability to it, iconic characters. Like there's just like it checks all the boxes for me. But I know that they have me, right? So I can open 2 cases, not pulling enchanted, and I'm going back for more. Now, not everyone's going to do that. Not everyone is going to open a case, not getting enchanted, and be like, this sucks. Like, I'm going somewhere like, One Piece, Pokemon, wherever, where I can open some packs and at least have some like stuff that I like for my binder or whatever. And so I get that, right? I understand that that's something they have to solve for. And while they haven't addressed it yet, decisions like this just once again illustrate that they're listening to the community. They understand the directions they need to go. That maybe they need to think about the secondary market a little bit less and just kind of give us some like there's cards that probably should be getting enchanteds that aren't, and they're definitely not doing it based on like a value point of view in terms of what's getting an enchanted and deciding on some of these cards, because there's some cards that haven't gotten enchanteds that just make all the sense in the world. For example, like Rapunzel gifted with healing from the first chapter over like Artful Rogue Mickey Mouse. Like that's an easy one. Like I want that. But they aren't making decisions solely based on like the collectability side of things yet. And I don't think that they necessarily need to, but an example of something that they did awesome this set that hasn't been really recognized is they didn't do enchanted locations. And that's a huge win for this set. And so I feel like, once again, this to bring it all back and put a bow on it, this is just another example of them pointing the ship in the right direction. It gives me a ton of confidence moving forward into sets like Arcasia's Island, Reign of Jafar, Fabled, into 2026 with things like Toy Story. Just sign me up. I'm going to be here for the long term, and that just gives me a lot of conviction as a collector. So hopefully you all feel that way as well. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are you someone who still watches my videos but had a poor opening experience and no longer participate in the hobby? Are you one that just likes to play the game but doesn't collect? Are you a collector who's just enjoyed it like me and has head over heels for it? I'd love to hear where you guys stand on that. This is something that's been out for a few days, but I didn't initially address it just because we've had a stacked roster of stuff to talk about. But we did get our organized play promos for set 7 here. So you see 3 Duel Link cards, and you have the Snow White for Amber. I personally love the way these look. I think the artist did a great job. They're adding in some kind of new art styles. Once again, kind of constantly evolving on the lore, lore counters here. You'll see this kind of like silver border or outline. This is new. To my knowledge, I don't think there have been any cards that have this style of art yet, which is really cool. In addition, we have our organized play, our competitive play logo that obviously will be changing. So we have that indicated down here at the bottom, which is nice. Another example of them understanding something that probably wasn't an ideal just kind of circumstance in terms of the organized play promos, the set champs promos, just regular league play promos, having the same indicators like a set release promo. So like Ursula, Flotsam and Jetsam for Ursula's return has the same indicator as my Rockstar Stitch from set one set championships. Like those two things probably shouldn't have the same logos, and so they're changing that here moving forward. Once again, another example of them just kind of realizing like, well, hey, these two things don't really add up. Maybe they did back then. They hadn't really thought it through yet. Now they're seeing this, they're evolving, they're adapting, they're changing their right direction. And once again, that just gives me all the faith in the world as a collector that they're continuing to make the right decisions, and that makes me very happy. Now, once again, I'll be the first to sound the alarm if I feel like they're making bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. I've criticized them several times before, but right now they're just really hitting things out of the park, and I'm very optimistic. Once again, they're doing a ton of hiring right now, and I think that that's necessary. They've seen a ton of growth with the game, and I think that hiring is going to lead to expedited and just better decision making down the pipeline as they continue not have to wear so many hats at the top of the team right now. So that all makes me feel very good. I love these promos, and I maintain that the organized play promos from a market perspective are some of the most undervalued cards in Lorcana. I think that if you're starting a collection and you're new to Lorcana, these promos are a great way to start, a binder per se. I have obviously bought a lot of the Cinderellas, Night in Training. That's the second organized play season. Whenever I started buying these promos, they were listed at 13 cents a piece. I looked at it, I said, hey, this is a cold foil Princess IP from an earlier portion in the game. Like, I'll take as many as you got. And so I was just buying stores out of their entire listings. And now I'm sitting on hundreds of them. And I think, could that card ever be like a $50 card? No. Could it be a $2 card, $3 card, $5 card? Yeah, I think that's a decent chance, right? As the collector base grows and more people want to have a cold foil Cinderella from an early set in their binder in their collection, like, yeah, that makes a ton of sense to me. I think that we'll see that at some point. And so, at 13 cents a card, I'll buy every one that exists. And so I started to do that, right? I have a floor on that card where if it dips below it, I'm going to buy it. And I will float that price until I have every Cinderella. But I feel like there are a ton of promos that are just incredibly undervalued. When you look back to like even just the season one organized play promos with the Mickey Mouse, the Yzma, and the Hey Hey, a lot of those are $1, $2, maybe $3. The very first season of organized play, a promo card that didn't come out of a booster pack, it's inherently going to be a lot more rare than the 99% of the cards in Lorcana. I feel like those cards are just set up for success as the game continues to grow. So if you're like me and you believe in the long-term collectability of Lorcana, it's worth looking into those cards. Now, I always emphasize this stuff is incredibly speculative. Disney, for whatever reason, could pull the license a year from now, and Lorcana could be another dead TCG, just like the million others that are already dead in this ecosystem. And so never over leverage yourself. Don't take on too much risk. Only buy cards that you like, right? Don't just listen to me and say, hey, that Cinderella card is cool. If you have no connection to that card and you're going to be upset if it goes down in price next week and you're going to sell it because it went down, don't buy it, because that's literally the only way you can lose in this hobby is if you buy a card for too much because you FOMO'd in and I said I liked it, so then you liked it and you buy it, you don't really like it, it goes down in price and you just undercut yourself and get out of it, or you're just not around long enough. If you don't have any deep connection to the IP and you're only speculating and you're not willing to wait 6 months, 12 months, 5 years, then I would say go participate somewhere else. There's a lot of other ways to invest your money to make some money if that is your end goal. Because if you don't like this stuff, Lorcana is gaining organic traction. And it's gaining a dedicated fan base. It's not existing solely on hype like it was in the first chapter. And so we have to go through these periods where things are very slow in order for there to be booms and up cycles. You have to go through cycles where there's, people like me and people like you who love this stuff. We can go out and acquire these cards, and then people, when they come in, they're going to have to pay a higher price because they didn't value it when it wasn't valuable, right? And so that's kind of my thought process with these promos. I love a ton of these cards. They're iconic characters. I love Moana. You're going to give me a cold foil, Hey Hey, in addition to the fact that it's a promo, it's increasingly rare, and that one, in addition, I believe they're all errata errors, if I'm not mistaken. Double check me on that. Don't quote me there. I'm pretty sure that's the pre-errated version. So in addition, it's like even an error variant of like all the other stuff that I talked about. So I just, there's so much going for the promo cards. I love what they did here to bring it back to the set 7 release. Massive fan of these cards. The emblem update, the additional kind of like, border lining around the lore. The art looks fantastic. Dual Link cards, like a lot going for it. So 10 out of 10. I'm sure they'll all be incredibly cheap, and I will buy them all. So thank you, thank you for more organized play promos. Getting into an idea of like going off the back of like, some of these promos are very affordable. In the future, I don't think they're going to be as affordable. Once again, these league play promos, they're rarer than a booster pack card or a set card. But at the end of the day, there's still like there's plenty of those Cinderellas out there. I'm not acting like I have a couple hundred of them, or maybe like close to 1,000 now. There's thousands upon thousands of them. So like I by no means like control the market on those cards. There's a ton of them. It's never going to be a $20 card. It's never going to be a $50 card. But it very well could be a $1 card or a $2 card, $3 card, right? So I'm just kind of like, I have appropriate expectations of what that card might do. This is an example of this Bell here from Rise of the Floodborn, a legendary from the second set that hasn't really been playable up until this point, was getting sold for $2 just a few weeks ago. Like me personally, when I pull these enchantments, they don't have a lot of value because they're not, they don't have a lot of strong meta play behind them. So therefore people don't value them. Like I'm not selling a legendary for $2. Like I'm sorry. I value these cards too much, right? More than the market to ever sell a legendary for $2. I'm just not going to do it. And so times like this, whenever a new set comes out where now you have a shift target for this Bell card that was already like, it's a 3/3/5 cost on Inkable. It's not great, but it quests for 3. So you can kind of see like, hey, okay, it quests for a high number. In addition to the fact that it's Floodborn. So just like if you take a step back before now, obviously this card is selling for lowest on the market is essentially $10. So it's kind of 5x, 4x from the lows to where it is now. If you just would have taken a step back before you listed this card and sold it for $2, and so okay, it costs a lot, but it's got decent stats, it quests for a lot, and it's a shift card, like okay, its ability, whenever this character is challenged, the challenging character's player discards all cards in their entire hand. So that's an extremely effective ability in addition to the fact that you can't really let this card quest because it's going to quest for a ton. So you sit back and think, well, man, if we ever get a decent Bell that can be played early that this thing can shift on top of, like this might change the entire game. Like that was very easy to see when this card was at $2. Now you have to have the patience to hold on to the card. Obviously the uncertainty of is that shift target going to come? But we've seen that a lot of these shift targets are getting paid off down the line, especially when you look at an iconic character like Belle, someone who's most likely going to continue to get cards, right? As she has a lot of movies and she's involved in a lot of different things within Disney, could definitely see her continuing to get new cards. You think of a card like this, like a $2 princess legendary that has a shift target from a set that's not printed that much, like, yeah, it's got everything we're looking for. So just, I would behoove you, as Arcasia's Island comes out, and as you have some of these legendaries that maybe aren't that valuable, or super rares, or even rares, that just aren't that valuable, mainly legendaries because they're just the most rare of the bunch, you don't have to sell the card for $2. If you're going to be around for a while, like if you're excited for Reign of Jafar or Fabled or getting into Pixar, like if you're going to be around for a while, don't rush to sell these cards. You have time, assuming that you haven't over leveraged yourself, and assuming that you're just kind of buying as you can. Cards like this, hold on to for a little bit. You don't have to sell them. A $2 legendary princess, like that's pretty dang cheap. And so we're seeing here now as the card creeps up to $10 and $15, the people who are buying it for $2 here, right? It had good sales volume, 24, 28, 31, 27, 35. These people were ahead of the curve. Even back when it was a little bit more expensive, it was still selling, right? Has had constant volume throughout. And now we see that 164 have been bought as we get close to the, $15 mark for the card. So just an example there of like, don't rush to sell these cards. If you feel like it's undervalued or it might have playability down the line, it probably will. So just wait on it. Getting into a couple more cards here, and then we'll wrap up the video. Clarabelle, Light on Her Hooves, a card that is seeing all-time highs now. Lowest on the market is essentially what, $21, $22. Lowest verified, $24. So a card that's just a couple sets old that is seen, it's seen decent volume, like kind of constant volume throughout, but now people are starting to see like, hey, this might make sense. For example, with that Bell card or whatever it is, right? Emerald getting some additional cards, or just general playability. People have decks that are really going to leverage the Clarabelle here going into the next set. we're starting to see the price really start to escalate. It was available for $12 just a few weeks ago. Now the lowest on the market is 24 for a verified seller. So we're talking about a 2x when you're looking at verified sellers just from a few weeks ago, right? It's gone up $12 in that time frame. So once again, another example of a card that's got a great it's got a shift target, right? It's the Floodborne style. In addition to the fact that it's got a really good ability, very well statted card, quest for a decent amount, right? Too, not that crazy, but still, it's a decent card in terms of the meta. You're starting to see people who are buying it, $12 be rewarded because the card's just very, very good. And we didn't know what was going to come, right? We don't know what Reign of Jafar is going to hold. We don't know what Fabled's going to hold. And a lot of the meta is going to change, based on those cards. In addition, anytime we have a playable card like Clarabelle, a traditional legendary, anytime we see that card have an enchanted, we're going to see that follow the same suit. So right now, the lowest near mint verified seller on the market is 135. This card was selling for $90 just a few weeks ago. So once again, up $40 to $50 on the enchanted side. We're going to continue to see that on these enchanteds. When the original version of the card goes up, the enchanted's going to follow the same path. We have that here with Clarabelle Light on Her Hooves. Another example of that is Belle Strange But Special from the first chapter. Once again, another card that maybe now that Belle has a decent shift option, we're seeing the Emerald Belle increase in value. We're seeing this Belle, not a shift, but still a Belle character there, increasing in value, now getting back up. Definitely not at all-time highs, because back when first chapter first came out, you'll see this card was, nearly $30 at the high, but it was readily available down around $9 just last month. And now when you look at it now, we're getting close to lowest verified for a near mint copy on the market is $15. It was available at $9, right? So we're starting to see this really pick up traction of 30% when you look at the verified side of things. You look at the enchanted, lowest near mint copy on the market, $240, but these cards were selling regularly for under $200 just a week and a half ago. Someone bought 3 copies for $199 for a near mint Belle, and now that card's selling for $250, right? So another example of, if you're, as long as you just collect what you want, there's a good chance that even in the short term, some of these cards are going to see, immediate increases in gain. Now, obviously, I have no desire, like if I had a Belle, for example, Princess from the first chapter, there's no chance that I'm selling it now at these current prices. I think it's undervalued. Now, obviously, if you buy one and it goes up $40 to $50, look, when you take into account like taxes, fees, etc., like it's not that much money in my opinion, but there are opportunities like this. If you see some good deals, I think that you can be rewarded, especially when you look at like the Belle Hidden Archer example. A lot of money to be made there if you can forecast the meta and kind of say like, hey, if we get one decent shift option for this Floodborne character, there's a good chance that this price is going to skyrocket, and it does. So just some things to look at there. And I'm really, this is just kind of a bigger overall concept. It piggybacks off the back of the previous conversation in the sense that the enchanteds for Azurite Sea are very, very affordable. This is the most affordable enchanted set. When you look at the highest card to the lowest card, it's got the smallest gap. Baymax leads the set at $115. By far the cheapest, let's say tier 1 enchanted out of a set. Obviously, Azurite Sea. I didn't really like the cold foil. Or the foil or the art type, I guess I would say. I don't fault them for what they did here. They built lore, they built a story, they put together an art style and a foil background that went with that story. They shot their shot. It didn't hit. These are the least valuable enchanteds on the market. But we could see some of these really bounce back. People are going to start to like them when they need to play the card. So whenever we think about Reign of Jafar and Fabled coming out, if one of these cards, like, Wreck-It Ralph, for example, for some reason, there's some card that ties to him, he's going to go from $47 to $150 real quick, right? And so there might be, options to speculate here. I personally am not doing that. I don't really like to speculate on these cards that much. The promos and stuff like that, like, sure, I'll buy a couple hundred promos of a promo that's going to cost me 13 cents to enter on. But at the end of the day, like a $50 enchanted, I'd rather just put that $50 toward a card that I actually want to have. But I'm just trying to illustrate here that there probably is some Azurite Sea enchanteds here. They're going to 2, 3, 4x in value whenever we get Reign of Jafar or Fabled, and we get some sort of card that increases their playability the prices are going to skyrocket, because once again, people may not like the way these cards look now, but when they need 4 of them in their deck, they're going to start to like it a whole lot more. So just be cognizant of that. And then finally, to end the video, I think it's an interesting point with Azurite Sea. This set has maintained expected value phenomenally when you look at its counterparts of Ursula's Return and Shimmering Skies into the Inklings. This box is still holding around $90+ of expected value, with the fact that the Enchanteds are the least valuable Enchanted set from high end to low end. Like, these are the most affordable Enchanteds of any set, but the expected value is still doing better than many of its counterparts. Speaks to just how much the playability of cards can impact the expected value. And that's why I think a set like Arcasia's Island, there's so many cards, whether it's the Bell or the Tamatoa, that are going to see a lot of playability and are going to be 4-ofs. I think they're going to demand a lot of they're going to demand a lot of demand from the players. And I think that that's going to help from an expected value point of view. In addition, with the fact that the Enchanteds are they're awesome. And I think there's going to be an increased demand from the collectability side of things, whether that's people kind of disappointed with Azurite Sea like I was and looking to get some more Enchanteds for my collection. In addition, with the fact that a lot of them are going to be playable and they're going to command a premium. Like Tamatoa, that card's going to be a 200+ Enchanted automatic. Like, it's going to be very similar to Mufasa in terms of the rate at which it's going to pace, in my opinion, as it relates to price. And I think that we could be staring at a very, very good set in Azurite Sea or Arcasia's Island as it relates to expected value, which me, as someone who's trying to build as many Enchanteds, kind of collection as I can while selling some of the singles, like, that's music to my ears. I'm going to be going in very heavy in terms of allocation for this set, and I'm very, very excited for it. I cannot wait for it to get here, get out, go to the LGS, open some packs, play with some friends, come home, open the set with my daughter, continue to fill out her binder with the cards that she likes. She's got the Stitch binder, which we got it for her for the last set. She's got the cards that she likes in here. Obviously, not the best video to show it off here with the background, but we were big into Big Hero 6 when Azurite Sea came out. So she's got all sorts of just like uncommon Hero Hamada. She got some common Stitches. She loves just anything Hero we put in here. She's got some rares. She's got a Yokai. She's got a cold foil Tadashi Hamada there, cold foil rare. So just some stuff that we're starting to build in her collection. McDonald's is also doing the like Happy Meal promos right now, where you can get some like Pokemon cards. So we kind of filled up we're starting to do like the set of those. You can't see it, I apologize. We have the puzzle pieces in here. Arcasia's Island is going to have 2 new puzzles, both 9-piece puzzles. Very excited for that. My daughter loves putting those in her binder. So Arcasia's Island is shaping up to be a very good set. Once again, a month ago, pre-release, I was pretty down. I'm like, man, this set, like, I haven't watched Bolt. We don't really have a connection to it. Like, whatever. The set might be a miss for me. Now, fast forward, we're a week and a half out, and I cannot wait. So, very, very excited for this set. It just happy with where Lorcana is at. And maybe that's just a reflection of the fact that it's going to be 60 degrees today, and I can play outside and enjoy some fresh air. Lord knows we need it. This sickness season, between my kids being in school and daycare, being inside 24/7, like, sheesh, it's been a month, tell you that. So hope you and yours are safe, healthy, enjoying some good weather. Hopefully you're enjoying getting a little bit of the same. And thank you all for watching. If you've made it this far, I would appreciate if you save my TCG player link in the description of the video. If you just save that as your home kind of TCG player link, it'll have the hyperlink to TCG player / Cardboard Kingdom. Anytime you buy a card on TCG player, I will get some sort of kickback there. It's nothing significant, but it doesn't cost you anything, and I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. So thank you very much for rocking with me. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back with another video soon. Bye, guys.